You know, I visit college campuses so you don't have to, and and I deal with these people, right? And it's a very sinister combination between remarkable arrogance and resentment and totally uninformed opinion, right? So they're so committed to being correct. They're constantly wrong, but they're never in doubt. It's an incredible combination, right?
That's well said.
So I'll never forget one of these rocket scientist philosophers came up to me. He was 20 and he had taken a philosophy course, so he knew everything about philosophy. And University of Minnesota, and I think I saw him on television the other day, burning down a building or something. I was like, that's the guy. I knew he was destined for great things. And so it was a couple years ago at University of Minnesota, and he said, Charlie, you don't understand. Once we get rid of police and private property, that's when human beings can go back to their normative state, the primitive state, and everything will go back into a utopian place. And this is an idea that was theorized by the French fool. If you want to know where most bad ideas from, just go to France. I mean, my gosh, just Jean Jacques Rosseau. I mean, the guy was a hypocritical, privileged brat who basically, we got a lot of our bad ideas in the West from him, but he argued very, very bluntly that we should have the primitive over the civilized, the infant over the adult, the passionate lover over the calm spouse. I mean, basically everything your child learns in college can be originated back to this clueless, let's stop there, a guy from France by Jean Jacques Rosseau. So this idea of we just get rid of, it's society that's the problem. It's not us. No, you're actually awesome. You are perfect. You don't have original sin. It's societal sin. That's what you have to understand that the difference is right now, right? So this philosopher from University of Minnesota who just took a freshman introductory class of How to Hate America, right? And so he was telling me, Charlie, you don't understand. It's this great thing. And I'll never forget this conversation because I said, one day you're going to get what you want and it's not going to end well. And I said, one day you guys are going to get so bold and you might actually form your own little communal country. And write me a memo on how that goes. And he said, I can't wait. It'll be brilliant. The revolution is coming. And this is a couple years ago, and they actually ended up acting on these foolish ideas. And so they founded Chaz or CHOP or whatever, which in a very interesting way, I was perplexed by this. And at Turning Point USA, we sent journalists into Chaz and we infiltrated it. And they had borders. It was really bizarre.
Yes.
It was like,
guarded.
That was the first
guards.
thing. And they had ID checks. I'm like, well, now we can have voter ID everywhere now, right? Because in order to get into Chaz, you had to check your identification. And so they also, so you go in there and they have no police and all this, and incredibly bad things continued to happen. And tragically, 2 people died, and one African-American black kid died who was a teenager, murdered. And it's this amazing thing, Jack. When you get rid of police, people still do bad things. It's almost as if original sin actually exists in our world and that the Bible is completely correct, that we're broken, so unbelievably depraved by nature that we are in need of a Savior that only a loving God could deliver to us, that it's actually what is in our book is true and right. And so, but this is what we're up against. And I want to just frame this for you because you say, who could possibly defund the police? Who could want that? They come from a worldview.
That's right.
That we are actually awesome human beings. That we by nature are good. This is what we're up against. Right, what's happening right now, and this is what really frustrates me with a lot of the Republican Party, is just how myopic they get in their conversation. They're like, well, maybe we can pass a police reform bill, and maybe you can, maybe you can't. But you're missing the broader point. We have just introduced a national conversation on human nature, and you think this is about police reform? Exactly. This is a beautiful opportunity to be able to defend something that through 5,000 years of history and this incredible book that tells us that is ultimate truth, that human beings are broken by nature. And we know this, and the left doesn't believe this. They actually are so incredibly confident in their own hubris, in their own philosopher king world. I can fix human beings. All we have to do is get rid of the police and then give a little health care and no borders and all. Of course, it's a bunch of rubbish and nonsense and balderdash. But I got all sorts of words that are non-swear words to describe the left, by the way. Being a podcaster that has PG-rated audience, it's the amount of words I can use to describe the American left is limitless. So that's a fun sidebar. So yeah, I guess the point was about Jerry Nadler, and that's to kind of complete the point was this, they truly believe, the radical left absolutely and completely believes that society is a mistake, that the systems we have around us are systems of oppression that must be dismantled, undone, and deconstructed because they have the better idea to be implemented, and then we can actually be harmonious people in utopia, which literally means nowhere, if you look at actually what utopia means. That's what they believe. So right now we're in a discussion on human nature. We should win that conversation. We should win that argument, I should say.